Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News Channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, right, but there's been a storm of outrage on social media over some truly outrageous comments by an Australian-British podcaster. Now, this man, right, who clearly knows nothing about Africa or our people, recently claimed that the Khoisan are not African or black. Yes, you heard that right. His claim is as offensive as it is delusional. And as if that wasn't enough, this same podcaster went on to say that Europeans have as much claim to South Africa as any black person. Now, can you imagine? Can you really imagine? Well, let me tell you, right? And I'm speaking from the heart here. This is not just ignorance, but this is a deliberate attempt at historical revision. Yes, it's a classical example of what I call the divide and conquer mentality. This is what white supremacy does. It tries to rewrite our history to fit a narrative that maintains their control. And we cannot, and we will not, right, stand by and let that happen. I mean, think about it, right? This is a man who, despite having no historical or cultural connection to this land, feels entitled to rewrite the story of who we are and where we come from and what we mean. I mean, this is not just an attack on the Khoisan people. This is an attack on all of us. When you deny the Khoisan's African identity, you deny the very foundation of African history. You erase thousands of years of our story. Let's have a look.
Black people are not the original inhabitants of South Africa, which, in fact, they're realizing that now. When they claimed that they owned all the land, the original inhabitants, of whom there are not many left, said, excuse me, no, we were the original inhabitants, you guys were migrants here as well, which they were. Okay, the original inhabitants of Southern Africa are called the Khoisan. All right, now, and they were the inhabitants of the whole of Southern Africa. So the whole of South Africa, at one stage, were Khoisan. The black people originated in what is now Cameroon. That's where they...
Hold on, Khoisan aren't black?
No.
What are they?
They're a completely separate ethnicity all on their own. In fact, if you look at them, they're kind of yellowy. They're a light brown yellow color, right. But they look more Asian than African. They do not consider themselves African.
Interesting.
When the white guys arrive in Cape Town, so 1652 is when Dutch guys arrived there. At that stage, you could have divided South Africa almost exactly 50-50, what's now South Africa. The western half of the country was entirely Khoisan. There were no black people there. None at all. Only Khoisan. So we're Cape Towners, all that area, Khoisan people. The northern part of the country did have black people. They'd started arriving, and they were still migrating.
How long had they been there in the northern?
Well, it's a moot point, and people have debated it. It would seem that black people had probably started arriving in the northern parts of South Africa, maybe 1,000 years.
And make no mistake, right? This isn't just about one man with a microphone. It's a symptom of a much larger problem. And for centuries, our history has been distorted, has been rewritten and manipulated by European scholars, colonizers, and powers who have no right to tell our story. They've used their position or dominance to shape textbooks, to shape narratives, and to shape minds. And now, here we are, 30 years into democracy, still fighting against the lies and distortions that we were fed. So I ask you, South Africa, what are we doing to protect our history? Are we still relying on foreign historians, foreign scholars, and foreign perspectives to tell our story? Or is it time we take control of our narratives? And here's my belief. African governments need to ensure that our educational systems, our history books, our public archives are actually written by African scholars for Africans with an African perspective. Our history is ours to tell, and it must reflect our truth, and not the twisted versions that have been imposed on us by outsiders. I mean, we cannot rely on the same people who colonized us to teach us about our own history. That's impossible. And this, right, I believe is where the true decolonization begins. Not just in our classrooms, but in our institutions of learning, in our research, in our storytelling. Our children should be taught the full truth of our past. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And it must be told by our own historians, by our own experts who understand the nuances of African identity, culture, and history. No more outsourcing our knowledge. No more allowing anyone to erase or distort our stories. And I do know, right? It won't be easy. Reclaiming our history means challenging the systems that have been in place for hundreds of years. It means pushing against powerful interests that benefit from keeping us divided and ignorant. But we have already come so far, right? The truth is we are capable of so much more than we've been led to believe. And I think that this is not just about the Khoisan or the Black African experience, but it's about all of us. About reclaiming our power, our identity, and our place in the world. I believe it's time to stand up and say enough is enough. We will no longer let anyone tell us who we are. We will no longer allow our history to be rewritten to fit someone else's agenda. We are the authors of our own story, and it's time that we take our power back. We have the responsibility to protect our history, and I truly believe that if we do this right, we can not only reclaim our past, but we can shape a future that is unapologetically African. Now, I think that let's start by telling our own stories, by teaching our own history, and by ensuring that no outsider can ever again rewrite the narrative of who we are. Now, it's time to rewrite the history books with us, for us. What do you think? Please, let's engage in the comment section. We really want to hear from you. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me till we meet again. It is goodbye for now.